Well, hey there, friends. Welcome back to Tassi. I am just kind of moving along here. I had to make a change. I had to get rid of the Dice Far, so I couldn't. I was having issues with it pulling the cedar. Just didn't quite have the oomph. So I wound up picking up this Challenger that did have the oomph. So this is a modded version of the Challenger. I believe this is the Warrior version, which comes in base black, but I still wanted to have that Deutz-Fahr lime green, so I went ahead and painted it that color. But I would like to just kind of show you guys what we've been up to before I get into cutting this grass. So we have currently, I bought some straw, but we have got our farmyard set up, but as you can see, I've added a few things. So I've got the Ranch King tedder here, which I like this because while it's tedding, it rows it up pretty nice. It's not quite small enough or narrow enough of a row, but I think it'll work. And then next here, we picked up this cedar. This is the Kuhn 6 meter no-till drill, basically, and I got all of I've managed to get all of the spinach and green beans harvested, and let me tell you, what a nightmare. I'm not a fan of doing that. I actually wound up having to buy my own harvester just to get it done, because it was costing me a fortune leasing it out. So, and then we did pick this up, this Fendt Squadra square baler. I like it. I don't necessarily love it, but I do like it. It does a decent job. We purchased the plow last episode. I did get a roller, and I've used that. I picked up a weight for the front end of our McCormick, and then I got these two. These are modded. They hold 13,000 liters each, but they have really small, narrow spreading radius of, I think it's 14 meters, something like that. It's not very much, but they hold 13,000, so I can just hire a guy, let it go. If the map lines are working correctly. That was the first problem I've really run into, and I'm not really overly enthusiastic about that problem. Now, I really like how this farm has been set, and it just works for me. I got to find something to do with my bales. I don't know what yet, but we'll get there. Next on the list is what we have been doing. So after I got the grass cut, I wanted to get grass cut so that I could get stuff going for cattle. I don't have cattle yet. I plan to do that very, very soon. But I only have $24,000 available for spending. But I did create a new field here, and this is all into wheat. And I'm going to be planting this into, I don't know, something. I just haven't figured out what. And over here, in what used to be our spinach, I think in this field though is gonna, I was kind of like not wanting to, but I want to, but I think I'm gonna do soybeans because I'm gonna need the money, and I'm gonna need to start paying back that loan. But this over here is also wheat. I did wheat for two reasons. One, I want to get chickens. Two, I want the straw, because eventually I want to make my own TMR, but for now we'll probably just use straight up hay. Now, I have to take a breath because that was a lot of words in a very short amount of time. Next thing that I want to get going on is our grass. So I want to get this mowed and ready to go. And I want to do that because it's going to be one of those spots that I need to get cleared off And I'm kind of wanting to plant all of this into grass, because I want to have cattle, I want to have a sheep or goats. I haven't decided which yet, and I need grass for all of that, and quite a bit, in fact. One of the things I also need grass for is to make silage and additional, hay, but primarily the silage is going to be the big kicker, because anything extra that I don't actually need for TMR, I'm going to probably make the push to sell that, I think. Just trying to go around this little bend right here, get that all cleaned up. But yeah, I can sell the excess silage, and I can't afford a wrapper yet, and I can't afford cattle yet. So I've got to keep pushing. I don't want to wait a year to get cattle. I also don't want to do contracts, so that's part of it as well. So yeah, I'm pushing along here pretty steadily. But my only other issue with this is, do I want a grass field that's going to be this large? This is a massive chunk of land. So if you look at the map, if it doesn't make me okay, so if you look, well, there it goes. But let's real quick look at what we get with this piece of property. So that is this section here. So this, it goes all the way down here, up and back around, all the way up to there. I believe. Yeah, and it circles up around this little wooded lot. I'll eventually want to buy that wooded lot, but not right now. It's not really paramount to what I want to do. I have plenty of wood. If I really was sitting there saying, oh, I need to have some wooded area so that I can make money, that would be something that if I had to do that, I would just, go after what I've already got. But I'm not really keen to do it that way. I feel like I've got enough going on where I don't need to add that little complication to things. But I do have all this property up until this little drainage ditch here, which I believe is these trees are in my way of the ditch, and that's fine. But yeah, I can just kind of swing around here, and this is a lot of grass. I won't lie, I'm a little intimidated by the sheer volume of grass that I'm going to be dealing with if I turn this into a field. Another issue that I am having, I haven't really discussed, is so one of the big problems that we're having on this map is GPS. So it's not creating lines for me on one of the fields, so I can't hire anyone, and that in itself isn't such a big deal if it wasn't my largest plot of property. So that's where it's getting kind of hairy. So the one wheat field is not showing up when I want to. Even when I want to do the drive assist, I can't get it to show up. So that is creating a lot of headache for me. Now, one thing that, excuse me, one thing I've got to do is I've got to watch out for poles. Now, I've been trying to figure out where is a good cutoff for a grass field, because geez, I mean, that's a lot of grass. But this is my only grassland area, at least currently. So I need some insight from you guys on whether or not, I should make this entire like little plain into a grassland that we can, because I'm also going to take up some of this grassland space with a meadow for a sheep enclosure. I know I thought about doing goats because the milk is so valuable, but, and this is the issue that I'm having with the goats. I've already got milk with cows. I don't really need milk with two animals. I've done that on a different playthrough, and where I have buffalo, and buffalo milk is so much more valuable than cow milk, but in fact, so is goat milk. So I was going to try and do this somewhat more traditional, more in line with the Farming Simulator 22 ideology, that we just get on here and we're going to do the basic animals that we would have gotten with 22. And I love having the goats. They're probably my favorite animal in the game. Pigs being my least favorite, just because pigs are, you buy them, you let them eat, and then you sell them when they get fat, rinse and repeat. They don't offer anything really else to me. I mean, I guess that there's mods where you can get a meat processing plant and all that stuff. You can make bacon or whatever, I guess, but it doesn't really interest me in that regard. So I am just kind of trying to figure out what makes most sense for me on this farm. I really am enjoying this. I haven't even bothered to think about starting to pay back the $1 million loan, and the land prices are so cheap. That is one problem that I'm having, in addition to how generous it was in the beginning with the amount of, when you got the starting farm. Even when you don't take the starting farm, you get the starting equipment. And I had to sell all that off and then lease just a bunch of stuff and return it to get rid of it, because I don't have any mods downloaded to just type in a set amount of money that I want to spend. So while I really like having mods and stuff, some stuff, it seems like this map kind of gives you too much of an advantage out of the gate. And I understand for it's like what I would consider one of the ideal beginner maps, in that it offers you lots of land for dirt cheap and gives you a lot of equipment, and you don't have any debt unless you choose to do it, which I have. And I'm also considering the my thought process of $1 million is a lot of money to be in the hole, but why not look at it from a different point of view? And I always start off on a hard economy, but as I was doing this a little bit more yesterday and earlier today, I was like, man, I've really set myself up against it. I don't know how this is going to progress if I've got $1 million loan to pay off and I'm on hard economy. Money's already hard to come by. So I am struggling a little bit on that and trying to get my mind wrapped around how to actually overcome these self-induced limitations that I put on this. So yeah, but yeah, one of the thoughts that I was having is I'd like to, have more fields, but I just don't know if I want that big, huge section to be all grass, because that's a lot of grass. That's a lot of, and if this map isn't going to allow me to use steering assist, or or if I'm going to sit there and not be able to use a worker when I want to, is the map, is it detrimental to my my playthrough to make this into one gigantic field? It probably is. And one thing I thought about was, making the front of this field into a bit of a, because I do need the grass. I will definitely need the grass, but I don't necessarily think I want it to have as a an income source. But would it be something where, the front of this field I just turn into a pardon me, just make it into like a small field that provides a small cash crop, and then do a large field of grass in the back section beyond the power lines, because the power lines are the real bear. I hate having power lines. They're actually more inconvenient than trees when it comes to having something in the middle of your field. And I'm sure there's a way that I could just, I'm sure I have an objects hide mod that I could download. I'm sure there's a hidden objects mod for me, but I don't want to download it. I don't want to have to learn how to use it. I just as soon have, but again, having that stuff there is so much character involved in having it that it almost makes this seem ultra realistic. Now, the real question though is, how much grass do I need? Because I mean, I guess what I should do is just start with a large amount, and then I can shrink it if I feel like it, because I do have to have more buildings, and that's going to cost money. But yeah, I do need to have more buildings. So not just to say for the sake of having more buildings. I'm just saying I'll need more buildings just so that I can get cows, get sheep. I don't want to be stuck with just this one little teeny tiny enclosure for cows. I want to have, I want to have another enclosure for cows. And then I will require a lot of grass. But it's the GPS part that I think that's bothering me more than anything. But yeah, I mean, the only other thing I can really think of that I want to do is, and this is kind of a weird thought. I have been thinking of making a field within a field. So on the exterior of the field, like what I'm doing now on a headland, I would create a grass field. And then on the inside of that, I would have an arable crop. So I would make my grass field basically all the way up through the poles there, and then from that point forth, I would then leave a section untouched and plow up a field within a field. And I would have a border. Obviously, I would have a distinct line where my grass field is, where my grass field ends and the other field begins. So there would be a section that is in the center with nothing. And that is something I've actually thought about a lot, because I've never had a map where I've had a big enough map area that I could afford early on that I could do something like that. I mean, it sounds a little out there, but it sounds a little bit fun too, you know. So for like this, I would just basically go this entire section up until the power lines, and I would use the power lines basically as my break for my border of my field. And from there we would just have to get around this power line. Yeah, I would do the break from there, and I think that'd be kind of fun. I think it'd be kind of interesting. So I'd really like to know whether or not you guys have any thoughts on that. So yeah, I would have like, it'd basically be something like 4, maybe 5 laps around the field with my mower here, and that would be my grassland for my livestock. And then the center of it would be pure arable crop. And I like that, because then I don't have to put in a lane, and I don't have to worry about driving over it and damaging my crops. I would be able to still have my crops, but I wouldn't have to worry so much about the damage aspect of it. So that's really what I'm thinking. So what I wanted to do was, I wanted to do 5 rounds on this field, and basically stop at the power lines, and then bale it up, see how many bales I got out of it. I don't necessarily want any additional, because I'm going to have to do silage eventually, but I don't need to do it right now. But I will eventually need to do silage. I just can't afford a wrapper. But I thought, why not give it a run, and if I do hay, I can get a good idea how many bales that this setup would actually provide. Because for probably the first year or so, I'm going to have to feed the cows straight hay and no grass. So the grass I'm just saving for, I'm hoping in the, you know, and it might be 2 years before I can afford it, because I want to get my sheep before I worry too much about getting before I worry too much about getting more equipment, because I think I've got all the equipment I need in order to, you know, really have a good time with this. I've got a harvester, I've got all of the things. I mean, I do need one additional piece of equipment, I guess. I will need a grain bean header, and that's fine. But yeah, I've been sitting here, it's been like, what would be the cool thing to do? Because I'm always interested in exploring new ideas and doing things that I've never seen done, and I have never seen somebody, you know, I've seen people make fenced in fields, and I mean, that has a place. I just hate that place. I hate the fenced-in fields. It's probably one of my least favorite things to deal with. I don't like opening gates and all that. I grew up on a farm that didn't have gates that you had to open. Yeah, we had fence rows and everything like that, but those were basically, I think, more for snow break than anything else, windbreak. Whereas in this, we're not really worried about windbreak. So yeah, I just don't want to waste time, money, and effort on something like putting in fences. But why not use the grass field as my border? You know, I'm going to have more of this space taken up eventually by, you know, another cow barn and stuff like that. So this might seem like a large section to begin with, but it's really not going to be when it's all said and done. And having that break in between the grassland area and the remaining, or the other field, I just think that just, to me, it sounds like fun. Maybe I'm just rambling, I don't know. But what I'm gonna do here is, you guys, I'm gonna finish up this, and what I thought I would do after that is, once I have got my, like, I guess I'm gonna do like a run of like 5. I think that we just finished up like number 4. So I'll do 6 because I want to kill off this brush. I don't want the brush in there either. So I'm going to do 6, and then on the last, I'm going to get it all baled up. I'm going to see how much we get for grass, and I'm going to do it as hay. I am really curious about this. I want this to be kind of original ideals. And then we're going to start getting it plowed under for my my next vision on this farm, because I mean, that's what it's all about, guys. Getting creative, having a little bit of fun, doing something a little different. And I really like this idea. So right now I am currently at 4 swoops of the grass, and just doing 2 more ought to give me a fairly good chunk of space. Also, the reason I wanted to do this with meadow was because it's going to give me an idea. When I do the harvest, it's going to give me a low end appraisal of how much I can expect, because meadows, they give you the lowest yield. So, you know, just keep that in mind, that the yield will be super or significantly less than an actual planted grass field. So yeah, it's just one of those things, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at where I'm at, and I'm thinking maybe I should be about done so that I can start plowing. I don't know yet. Because once I get this cleaned off, then it's all about you know, making a parameter that I'm going to use for my outline. And I mean, we're getting there, slowly but surely. And I don't necessarily have to do anything for certain, but I just, like I said, part of me is like, man, I do not want to have just this massive grass field to mow every 2 months. It's kind of depressing. Really, it is. So I think I'm going to make one more swoop over the whole of the fields, and I don't know if I'm going to get any closer to the edge. I kind of like where it's at because that ditch is then about 8 feet off from the edge. That's about perfect. So yeah, I'm going to finish up with this last round, which starts on this corner. And I'm a little short on this corner, actually. Just gonna have to try and see what we can come up with, because it's gonna be so awesome, guys. I can't wait. Can't wait to have something different that no one else has ever done. That's. I'm sure someone has done it. I've just never seen it. And I'm excited to be, the person that tries it first. So yeah, we're gonna do this as all hay on the outside. Get an idea of what it is. I'm not gonna waste the center. I know that's a thing that people are gonna be like, whoa, you could pull grass off that. I'm going to. I'm just doing the outer circle right now to get an idea of how much I can expect for when it is an actual grass field, planted with grass. It's fertilized, it's got lime, all the good stuff. It's been rolled. Those are the things I'm trying to accomplish. So yeah, next time when we come back, you guys, this is going to be hopefully planted, and we'll be moving on into November. So cannot wait for that. Can't wait to see you guys back with me for that episode. It's going to be a blast. So this is Graybeard Gaming, wishing you the very best of days. We will see you guys next time. Be safe out there.